Day 3 of the first test, and this is Ask George. Nick Evans asks, is it acceptable to knight Joe Root in the middle of a test match?
Anything else would be unacceptable.
Richard Anderson asks, we've got a chance here, haven't we?
Yeah, it's an outside chance. I mean, don't let the hope in. But yeah, definitely. I think you've seen that the pitch is going a bit up and down. It'll probably turn a bit as well. And it is possible if England got 200 ahead or something, a minimum, that Australia could have a nervy final day. Yeah, it's possible.
200 ahead, so just another 260 to get there.
As an absolute minimum as well. It would be horrible to get that far ahead and still lose, wouldn't it?
Baby Bear asks, does the way England have batted make the decision at the toss look even more daft?
You know what? I see it exactly the opposite. That's quite interesting. Because I see the pitch getting more difficult to bat on in a way. Listen, I'm not saying that Joe Root definitely got that decision right, but I don't think it was black and white. I thought it was a reasonable decision, as I said at the time. Just because if England get a lead here and the pitch is going up and down, because there are divots in it, because England batted first when there weren't the divots and the pitch was a bit damp and the ball made loads of indentations, then, don't know, doesn't it justify it?
Ekanth asks, is this resistance setting up for a more balanced last 2 days or an Aussie fight back?
Well, it's definitely a bit more balanced because I think at one stage we thought the game could be over in 3 days. So I thought there were really, really encouraging signs for England. In lots of ways that we haven't even, won't really get a lot of attention. I mean, maybe we're coming on to those questions, but I thought the openers did all right. I thought it showed that when you put some mile in legs of the Australian attack, that they had some questions to answer. So I thought, no, it was a very encouraging day. Doesn't mean that, Australia's still on top. Of course they are. But, encouraging for the rest of the series. I think England, Root, Malan, they'll have taken a lot of confidence from it.
Owen asks, why didn't England bat like this in the first innings?
Yeah, well, you raise a question there. Look, it was quite difficult. There was some very good bowling and there was some nervous batting. I think we've got to remember with all these things that they haven't had perfect preparation. And several people's games clearly aren't in the best order, are they? But yeah, you make a point. Whatever happened, that was an inadequate batting performance. It was no way 147 service.
RAHMAN asks, a new Ashes tactic for England fans, just go to bed.
Well, I don't know what other people are doing, but it did seem in Australia, it did seem pretty quiet overnight. There wasn't much interaction on Twitter and that sort of stuff. Listen, I wouldn't blame anyone for that. It seemed like, from an England perspective, it seemed like a pretty hopeless situation, didn't it? But actually, it was really, really enjoyable and, never write off England when Joe Root's batting. And there's a bit to come as well, isn't there? I mean, Ollie Pope looked all right in the first innings. That Ben Stokes fella's quite good.
Have they given everyone that bit of hope to stay up till midnight on a Friday and then for it all to fall apart again? Well,
there may be an element of that, but there weren't very many moments of hope in the last series here, Well, there was a bit just before the Test series started, but that was about it.
Balaji asks, just 8 overs for Hazelwood, but 14 for Leaky Stark.
Yeah, interesting that, isn't it? I think you're probably seeing with Hazelwood the same thing you're seeing with England bowlers, which is that it's quite difficult to be conditioned for Test cricket when you've only been playing white ball cricket. So they're saying he's fine, but does that ring true?
He bowled 8 overs out of 70.
And he's such a magnificent bowler and he's usually so fit and sturdy and consistent and has great stamina. So I would think that there should be alarm bells there. Look, I think they get a new ball with about 45 minutes on the 4th day. It'll be very interesting to see what happens then. I hope he is fit because I think he's just magnificent. I love watching him. But from an England perspective, when he's not bowling, life's easier. I think he's the best of the lot.
What did you make of Nathan Lyon today? 24 wicketless overs. He's still waiting for that 400th Test victim. It seems to be going on and on and on and on.
Yeah, he bowled pretty well, didn't he? I mean, he could have had wickets several times. He beat Malan on several occasions. He seems to be pushing for it a little bit, doesn't he? But look, it'll come. What an incredible record. I'm not sure, that I would be more worried about Australia's spin than England's. I mean, he went for 2 and a bit over, didn't he?
Yeah.
What did poor old Jack Leach go for?
8.5, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm not sure I'd worry about the fella who's on the verge of becoming the 3rd Australian to 400 Test wickets.
Yeah, let's move on. Chris Whitehead asks, have we learned anything about Haseeb Hameed in these 2 innings? I think we really have.
Yeah, I he's done his job. He's seen off the new ball. He's looked competent in doing it. He wasn't lucky. In fact, he was very unlucky to be out. I thought he did a job, and I think he deserves some of the praise for the partnership that followed. You're making life a lot easier. Look, we know that the Kookaburra is going to swing. This one seems to swing for 25 overs, roughly. It gets a whole lot easier after that. So he is taking the sting out of both the bowlers and the ball. I thought he showed he could do it. Obviously, at some stage, you've got to go on and make decent scores. But I think it's really, really encouraging, and I hope he takes some confidence from that. And quietly, I would think that England would be quite pleased with the job he's done. Is that how you see it as well? Yeah,
he took up 21 overs today, allowed Root to come in at a completely different stage of the innings compared to in the first innings. It changes Root's job completely, doesn't it?
Makes it much easier, doesn't it? And also, he was unlucky to be out. They could easily have gone for 4. There's no way they're bowling for that dismissal. It's out, no way around it. He'll be very frustrated, but he did all the hard stuff, I thought, really, really well.
Frank Morrish asks, where would England's Test team be right now without Joe Root?
In their hotels, nursing a 3-day defeat. I mean, the only thing is with this is that Joe Root's had this incredible year, and he's probably going to go into the top 3 run scorers in the calendar year ever. But it hasn't actually led England to a lot of success, has it? Which is really interesting. So I felt that today he was sort of batting for his captaincy career. I really do. I know that sounds a bit over the top. But I think he's been really good this year. And actually, I think that some of his captaincy decisions have been quite brave, including leaving out Broad and Anderson. Just hear me out. Next week, we know that there's another test starting. There's only 3 clear days between the games. So England bring in 2 fresh seamers in Anderson and Broad, and Australia have some who may have been kept in the field for 120 overs, 150 overs, hopefully. Maybe that'll seem a masterstroke. Equally, Australia maybe have to chase 200. Warner gets one that, with his dodgy ribs, he gets one that scuttles. Smith gets one which hits the shoulder of the bat. It might not work out, but I don't think these were ridiculous decisions. I do think they were brave decisions. A lot of the job of the captain is just to play really good individual cricket, and he's nailing that part of it. I think he is the natural leader of the side. Very difficult for him to carry on if England lose the Ashes. But look, who's the alternative? I have no idea.
And our final question is from AB, who's asking, well, England 5-0 then?
Wouldn't that be incredible? I mean, wouldn't that just be? I mean, I don't know which channels you guys are listening or watching to this, but it would be remarkable to hear Fox or 7 deal with the end of times that would bring on. But I think it's pretty unlikely.